charity, the most necessary virtue in the journey of our spiritual lives. This profound statement sets the stage as we delve into the essence of charity. Charity, often misunderstood as mere acts of giving, is far more than just a feeling or a once-in-a-while deed. It is a virtue deeply rooted in the core of our being, a virtue that encompasses love for God and love for our fellow human beings. Imagine a world where each soul is kindled with such love, a love that seeks no reward, a love that extends beyond the boundaries of self to reach out to the other, a love that mirrors the divine love of God Himself. That is the essence of charity. But charity is not just about extraordinary acts of sacrifice. It's not just about giving away all your wealth or laying down your life for another. While these are indeed noble acts of charity, the virtue of charity is much more encompassing and everyday than we often realize. Charity is about how we treat everyone around us, our neighbors, our colleagues, even our adversaries. It's about showing kindness to the stranger, offering a helping hand to the needy, and forgiving those who have wronged us. It's about putting others before ourselves without expecting anything in return. In essence, charity is the manifestation of our love for God through our love for our neighbor. It's about seeing God in every person we meet and treating them with the same love and respect we would offer to God Himself. As we journey through life, we must constantly strive to cultivate this virtue in our hearts. We must remember that every act of kindness, every word of encouragement, every gesture of forgiveness is a manifestation of charity. Charity is what gives meaning to all our actions and propels us forward on our spiritual journey. It's the key that unlocks the door to divine love, the bridge that connects us to God, and the light that guides us on our path towards spiritual fulfillment. Let us then strive to cultivate true charity in our hearts, for it is in charity that we find the essence of our humanity and our ultimate purpose, to love and be loved by our Creator. Charity is exemplified in the lives of saints and martyrs who have sacrificed everything for their faith. Take, for instance, Saint Francis of Assisi, a man who is often associated with poverty and simplicity. Yet his choice to live in poverty was not simply a rejection of wealth, rather, it was an act of radical charity. He embraced poverty because he wanted to love God without distraction, and he wanted to identify with the poor, to love them as he believed God did. And then there is St. Maximilian Kolbe, a saint whose story is a testament to the power of sacrificial love. During the Second World War, he was imprisoned in a concentration camp. When a man was selected for execution, St. Maximilian volunteered to take his place, laying down his life for a stranger. His act of charity was not a grand gesture made in a moment of passion. It was a conscious decision born out of deep love for his fellow man, reflecting God's own love for humanity. These saints, along with countless others, have shown us that charity is not simply about giving alms or helping the less fortunate. It's about a fundamental orientation of the heart towards love. It's about seeing the face of God in every person we meet and loving them as we would love God Himself. The stories of these saints inspire us. They challenge us to ask ourselves, are we willing to love like they did? Are we willing to sacrifice our comfort, our possessions, even our lives for the sake of love? In the end, the charity exemplified by these saints is not meant to be admired from afar. Rather, it's meant to be emulated. It's meant to be a model for our own lives, a standard against which we measure our own love. These powerful examples of charity in action inspire us to cultivate this virtue in our own lives. Charity isn't limited to extraordinary acts. It's about how we treat everyone around us, our neighbors, even our enemies. This statement couldn't be truer. Love for one another is the cornerstone of charity, and it's not confined to those we hold dear. This universal love was a fundamental teaching of Jesus, who urged us to love our enemies and pray for those who persecute us. Imagine for a moment being kind to someone who has wronged you, or praying for those who have caused you pain. It may seem counterintuitive, but this is the essence of charity. It's a love that transcends personal grudges and grievances, a love that mirrors the divine love God has for each one of us. But let's be clear, charity is not just about doing good deeds or following religious rituals. It's not about grand gestures or public displays of piety. Rather, it's about the small, everyday acts of kindness that we extend to those around us. It's about the compassion we show towards those who are suffering and the forgiveness we offer to those who have hurt us. You see, charity is a state of the heart. It's about selflessness, putting others before ourselves. It's about compassion, feeling the sufferings of others as our own. And it's about forgiveness, letting go of resentment and offering love instead. These are not easy qualities to cultivate. They require us to go against our natural instincts, to challenge our ego and our pride. But it's in this struggle that we find the true meaning of charity. It's in this struggle that we come to understand the depth of God's love for us. So let's strive to practice charity in our daily lives. Let's strive to live out Jesus' teachings of love and forgiveness. Let's strive to be selfless, compassionate, and forgiving. For it's through these qualities that we reflect the divine love of God. True charity is characterized by these qualities and reflects our love for God and our neighbor. It's not an easy path, but it's a path that leads to true fulfillment and lasting happiness. It's a path that brings us closer to God and closer to our true selves. As St. Paul wrote, the greatest virtues without charity are of no avail. This profound statement reminds us that charity is the foundation upon which all other virtues rest. It is the bedrock of our spiritual character, the cornerstone of our relationship with God and with each other. Imagine a building made of virtues like honesty, courage, kindness, and patience. Each of these virtues is like a brick, crucial to the structure, but without the cement of charity, these bricks would crumble and the building would fall apart. That's the role of charity in our spiritual journey. It binds together all other virtues, giving them purpose and strength. Without charity, our virtues become hollow, devoid of the love that gives them meaning. Now, faith and hope are two pillars of our spiritual journey. They are essential, guiding us towards God, inspiring us to seek His presence in our lives. But it's charity that adds depth to this quest. Faith allows us to believe in God. Hope enables us to aspire for His kingdom. But charity makes us love God for His own sake. It's not about what He can give us or how He can help us. It's about appreciating His infinite goodness, His unfathomable love, and responding to it with love of our own. Charity transforms our relationship with God from a transactional one to a deeply personal one. It's not about asking and receiving. It's about loving and giving without expecting anything in return. This is the essence of charity. As we journey through life, we must strive to fill our hearts with charity. It should permeate our thoughts, our actions, our entire being. It's not just about helping others. It's about loving God and seeing His image in everyone we meet. Charity is what brings us closer to God and fulfills our deepest longing for love and connection. It is the ultimate expression of our humanity, the highest form of love we can offer to God and our fellow human beings. So let us examine our hearts and strive to cultivate true charity in our lives. Cultivating charity is an ongoing journey, a path that is paved with selflessness, compassion, and forgiveness. It requires us to look deep within ourselves to assess our actions, our motives, our attitudes, and our relationships. This act of self-examination is essential, for it is through understanding ourselves that we can begin to change and grow. To cultivate charity, we must first encourage selflessness. This means setting aside our own desires and needs for the benefit of others. It means giving without expecting anything in return. It's about seeing the needs of others and acting on them, even when it's inconvenient or challenging for us. Next, we must cultivate compassion. Compassion pushes us to empathize with those around us, to feel their pain, their joy, their struggles, and their triumphs as if they were our own. It's about recognizing the inherent worth and dignity of every individual and treating them accordingly. And finally, we must strive to develop forgiveness. Forgiveness is letting go of resentment, anger, and the desire for revenge. It's about accepting that people are flawed and choosing to love them anyway. It's about healing, not just for the person who has wronged us, but for ourselves as well. Cultivating these qualities isn't easy. It requires dedication, patience, and perseverance, but the rewards are immense. As we grow in charity, we find ourselves growing closer to God. We find a sense of peace and fulfillment that can't be found anywhere else. We begin to see the world not as a place of competition and conflict, but as a community bound together by love. And so, in our quest to cultivate charity, let us keep these words in mind. Do all things with love. For in charity, we find the true essence of our humanity and our ultimate purpose, to love and be loved by our Creator,